All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Merely Bo and the Great Z. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Am I on? I don't know what's going on.
Well, it was strange
It's
because
hard
it was
to hear it.
bombed.
Yeah, we were getting
bombed out of the gates,
blown
and
out.
and then you adjust, and it's an overcorrection.
Those two, yeah, right. Now I think we're okay.
Got your vote on already?
I did.
I was a 6:40 a.m. voter.
I did.
Walked right in, got it done.
No
knocked
sticker.
it out.
You're not a sticker guy.
In general, I don't think I am. I don't know what I did with it. They handed it to me, and then it was. It's got to be in the car somewhere.
Yeah, probably fall.
Probably
here it is.
Falling off. Yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, so we got
I
that
did
done.
it. That's right. Got in there and did it. Do you want to start with last night?
We got a couple of ways to go. A little bit of a choose your own adventure.
I love that. I was a connoisseur.
Weren't those so much fun?
Oh my goodness,
So
the
much
best.
fun where you could pick what you want to do. Yeah, there was
Jump
the
to page 24.
Bear Grylls guy did that on Netflix, where you could tell him what to do next. There was
Great.
a series he did. That
Human
was very
choose
good.
your own adventure.
Literally, it happened. It was pretty great.
I got really good at the football game, boy. The football
a good one.
I
Yeah.
was great at it.
Feel
The
like-
one that went back through time.
Yeah,
That one,
yeah.
I loved that one.
Anything medieval, I would be into. Any
for
sort of
sure.
medieval choose my own adventure. I'm a big fan.
I'm going to
of.
go for the jousting. How about that? You give me an option
Sold.
to have jousting, I'm in. We're going to have a tournament.
It's a hell of a thing to pitch, isn't it?
Oh, it's great.
Two guys, a couple of horses, long, sharp pole. Hope for the best.
To the death.
To the death. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Right.
Pretty good.
If you knock him off and he's not
if
incapacitated, you hop off your horse and then you guys
you've done it.
hand-to-hand
and then
combat.
it's done. Yeah. If memory serves, the Mountain in Game of Thrones was not crazy about how that jousting scene ended and blamed his horse.
Took it out on his horse rather
Yeah.
aggressively, I would say.
Yeah. I was not pleased.
There wasn't PETA wasn't around then. They would have put a stop to that.
No.
No, they might not have put a stop
None
to
of that. So here's the choose your own adventure.
'Kay.
It's possible
Okay.
that Shelby Harris could join this program at any moment.
That's right.
At any moment.
Right.
We could be mid-sentence.
So you want to just filibuster?
and he's there, and we go.
Talk about nothing?
So we can filibuster, and we can.
See? See what we did there?
Oh.
Do you see what we did there? That's
There
the
it
oldest
is.
broadcasting trick in
What
the
a
book.
job. What a job out of us. Enormous bees. Let's head out on the Twisted Tea Hotline, brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it Twisted, Cleveland. Shelby Harris joining us, and one of the great friends of the program now.
Great friend of the program.
Would love to have him, but we're very thrilled that he's here. Shelby, what was give us the Sunday rundown for us. You get the sack, one of 9 that the team has, just a dominant display defensively. How much fun was that for you on Sunday?
What's up, guys? It was a lot of fun. I think that, it was the epitome of like a team win. Everybody doing their part, everybody contributing something different, and, that's what you love to see on Sunday.
Walk us through what happened on the sack strip fumble.
They tried to do a certain type of protection where they pulled the guard, and the center tried to cut me off. And we do these type of drills all the time. Where you run the hoop. You run the hoop is run, reach, and you reach, and then have to just I'm really the whole time I'm running. I'm just like, man, just hold it one more second. And he did. And that means like the DBs and linebackers were doing their job. Held it one more second, and then he tried to throw it and was able to make a play. And Miles, if Obo and Miles weren't over here fighting for the ball, one of them could have scored.
I know. Did Obo get some grief for basically? It looked like when you have your buddy standing there and then somebody gets on all fours behind him and then you push them and they fall over the buddy. That's kind of what happened there. Right? It looked like Obo was on all fours. He tackled Miles.
Yeah, but honestly, at the end of the day, we're just happy, that we were able to,
of course,
actually recover the fumble, set the offense up, put them in some good field position to be able to score. We got to try to make it easier, for our offense any way that we can, and I'm just happy I was able to do that.
Shelby, is it one of those things where as a play like that is happening, does it slow down for you at all, or is it still so fast because it's such a monumental play, and it's one of those ones you dream of as a defensive lineman?
I would say it's a mix of both, because coming around when you're going for, when you're going for the ball, it kind of, it feels like it kind of slows down a little bit. It's just, in the moment, it kind of feels like it slows down, a small amount. But, when you watch the film, you just realize, it's just like in your head it kind of slows down, but it's still going full speed. And, it's just, it's just one of those things that, I feel like on a lot of sacks, it seems like you just see something, and you kind of just like catch focus of it, and it kind of just like it gives you a chance.
What was Jim Schwartz's kind of message to you guys coming out of Seattle and coming into this game against Arizona? And it was clear, listen, they're starting a rookie out there. That was a tough spot for him, but you guys came out completely dominated. Bo talked about 7 sacks, 3 takeaways. You held them to 58 yards in an NFL game on 48 plays. I mean, what was the message coming in? And then is that the most dominant performance you've been a part of in the NFL?
Oh, that's 100% probably the most dominant performance I've ever been a part of. But I would just say his biggest message was just get back to playing like yourselves. Get back, get back to being yourselves. Get back to playing Cleveland Brown football and Cleveland Brown defense. We've shown that we can do it. We got it those last 2 weeks. Seattle, Indy, like those. That's not us. We had to get back to playing our brand of football and doing what we do. And, that's always our goal every week.
This defense has been historically good, Shelby. We're not even halfway through the season yet, but what has already been accomplished has been something else. When you think about what is still left ahead of this team, and you think about this challenge this week in Baltimore, do you sense a little bit even different attitude with every game? It's the NFL, right? Every game is the same. Everything matters more. It feels like this one's got a little different tone to it when you're thinking about going to Baltimore and taking on a Ravens team that has been dominant the last 2 times out. Do you sense a little different attitude around the building, around the fellas?
We just know it's a work week. We got to go in, be focused, be prepared, and go to work. They beat us last time, and we have a sour taste in our mouth over that. So, I think you just get an extra sense of focus. You get an extra sense of like everybody understands, what the mission is this week, and so. I think you just get, it is a different atmosphere because everyone knows like this is a huge game for us, and so we got to go in there and play like it.
What are the challenges that Lamar presents? And we know that their offense has evolved a little bit where it's not as much of him running the football, but he's been so effective throwing it this year with Todd Monken calling the plays.
Then it's just everything that he brings with. Even if they're not running QB design runs, it's just the way he maneuvers around the pocket and around in the boots and the rollouts and just everything that he brings, and then he's throwing the ball better than ever. It's just it's a tough challenge. He can really do it all, and that's why he is a former MVP.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Lamar Jackson's one of the best players in this league, and he's going to get his plays. That's Lamar Jackson. And so it's all about trying to contain his plays and contain him. But, it's way easier said than done.
Yeah. Well, and he makes a couple of plays every game where as a defense you think the moment before the play happens that you've got him, and then all of a sudden he throws it off balance and finds Mark Andrews somewhere, and it ends up being a big play. He had one of those against us last time. When last we talked to you, you were in studio with us, and it was right after you had come to the Browns, and you had a big smile on your face. You were very happy. Looking back on this, the past 8 weeks or so, 8 games, certainly, has this kind of lived up to what you thought it was going to be, and how much fun are you having playing football with the Cleveland Browns?
I would say this, and this isn't like, I don't want to sound crazy, but other than like obviously I spent 5 years in Denver.
Yep.
But I think Cleveland's my favorite organization. My favorite organization I've been a part of. From the people, from the players to the people in the organization, to the coaches. It's truly like I feel like a perfect fit. I love it here.
Good. We love having you.
It's been everything I've expected it to be plus more. I love everybody I work with every day. It's a joy to go to work every day. It's a joy to be around, like everybody in the organization. They make me feel at home, and that's all you want as a player, is to feel wanted and to feel respected. And I feel like I get both of that here, and we're all playing good football, and the goal is to continue that. But I'm very happy here. This is definitely the right choice for me and my family, and for my career. I think very highly of this Cleveland organization.
All right, take us in the film room. What got a bigger ovation, your sack strip fumble last week, or Mo Hurst getting his big paw up there and getting an interception against the Seahawks?
I feel like, it's all different type of plays. I would just say, I guess, the section we won.
Yes.
You know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean?
That
helps.
changes it. That helps.
feel like
That helps. That helps for
That
sure.
helps out a lot.
Yeah.
That helps out a lot, because the mood is different. Everybody's happy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so, but come on, let's we gotta give a shout out to Dalvin.
Dalvin's
While we're
2.5
here,
sacks. I know we got to
so
talk about
they're
Dalvin
crazy
and
yesterday.
Jordan and you and Mo. You guys are dominating in that
Dalvin,
room.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Everybody went crazy today. That's what I'm saying when I say like a team effort. Like, I'm so happy for Dalvin to have like that breakout game, and because it's just something that we all in the organization, like everybody that works there and plays there, we known it was bound to happen, and it's just going to start building onto something more. And it's just just to seeing everybody, seeing Jordan. And I think he already is at his career high in sacks.
Yep. Yes,
You know
he
what
is.
I mean? Like, this is what, like, this, like, it's just, you love to see this type of stuff.
Yeah.
You love to see, you love to see it. You love to see all your boys, doing good and being successful. And, I'm just happy I'm here to, to be able to, be here for the ride.
It was a career high in sacks in one game for Dalvin Tomlinson, 2.5. He's a full sack away from setting a new career high. You're right on the money about Jordan Elliott. I wanted to ask you about him because I interviewed him, I want to say 2 weeks ago. He had been playing really good football a couple of games, and he's obviously kept that going. Another sack this week. He coming into the season wasn't sure if he should be a Cleveland Brown. He wasn't sure if he should be playing in the NFL. And he said having guys like you and Dalvin and Mo come in, veterans, and kind of take him under their wing, and having Jim Schwartz come in with this defense, and it just kind of rejuvenated him. And he's playing the best football. As a veteran, how gratifying is it when you get a chance to work with somebody who maybe you see the talent in, but they haven't necessarily realized it, and then you see them blossoming before your very eyes?
What's gratifying about it is that, is that he's realizing how good of a player he could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the cool part about it is, like, seeing him come into his own and seeing him actually realize that, like, he doesn't just belong in this league. He can thrive in this league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He can be here for a long time. And you know what I mean? Like, he has all the physical attributes, and then he's gaining that confidence to go out there and just play freely. Man, it's a great thing to see, because I've heard about all his struggles from the past couple of years here playing ball, and you could never even notice that with the play this year. He's a tremendous person, tremendous player. I'm so happy for his success. He's coming to his own, and it's just showing that it's showing that he can really do this, and he can do this at a high level.
Shelby, we can't thank you enough for your time. I got to tell you, the entire time that you've been talking, we have this image up, and your smile would light up the entire state of Ohio, even past daylight savings time. And I got to tell you, your attitude is so infectious, man. Like, you can see it. It rubs off in the room. It rubs off when you're on with us. We love having you on, buddy. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the great game. Keep it going.
Man, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, that is Shelby Harris. Look at that. It's
great.
It's so great.
It's great.
He's the best. It's good having him on, and they're coming. You mentioned them. 2.5 for Dalvin. He sack strip fumble out of him. I love the paw with Mo Hurst, and Elliott's coming along. Like that. What Andrew Berry did on that defensive line this offseason was a masterclass. It really was. He remade the entire operation.
So last year, if you remember, or maybe you don't, let's get Gibbe involved.
Gibbe just walked in from a meeting.
Perfect, because he should be focused on our program. Gibbe.
Focused on a number of programs. Hi.
A great
Good
many
to see you,
programs.
A great many programs. All right,
Great many
Gibbe.
programs.
Last year,
Okay.
Myles Garrett led the Cleveland Browns with 16 sacks. Can you tell me who was second on the team? Give me
He's no longer on the team, am I correct?
Correct.
I would say 2 sacks.
That's incorrect. 3 is the number.
Hey, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Is that Taven Bryan?
Yes, Gibbe.
Good job, Eddie.
All
Gibbe.
right, who's Gibbe?
Hey!
All right,
Good night, everybody.
Hold
We'll
on,
see you
hold
Wednesday.
on. Bonus.
Uno with the applause.
Uno
Look at
dressed
Uno's.
up for it.
Uno's
Chris White.
Chris White.
Shirt out of Uno. Good job. Eddie.
Wait till
Uno.
you see the whole effect, though. You need to get Uno out of his seat, see the whole
All right.
effect of it.
Sure.
All right,
run an errand and we'll
Gibbe third. Gibbe third on the team last year. Also not on the team anymore. with 2.5 sacks. A venerable veteran who was
Clowney.
signed in the middle of the season. Deion Jones.
I don't even remember that.
Linebacker we got from Atlanta.
That's right.
I don't even remember Deion Jones being here.
Oh, he was pretty good when he was
had
here,
one
actually.
really good game. I know that.
Cincinnati, he had a pick.
Jeez.
Yep.
So that's what it was, 16-3 and then 2.5. So right now we've played half the season.
That's right.
We've got Myles Garrett at 9.5. Dalvin's at 3. Obo's at 2.5. Elliott's at 2.5. Taki's at 2. Zadarius is at 2. Shelby's at 1.5. We got a couple people with 1 and a couple people with a half a sack. We are getting, who's new to this team? Dalvin Tomlinson, that's 3. Obo, that's 2.5, so 5.5. Zadarius, 7.5. Shelby, 10. You're at 10 sacks from guys that were not on this roster. I may have done bad math there. 3, 5.5, 7.5, 9. 9 sacks from guys who weren't on this roster remade in this defensive line. That's a great job by Andrew Berry. Our defensive tackle room went from the worst in the NFL to now a very, very elite unit. We don't have an Aaron Donald on the interior per se, but Dalvin has been a game wrecker. And we have guys that are putting up production game in and game out. And it's awesome. It's a great job by Andrew Berry. I mean, we haven't even – Siaki Ika, we drafted in the 3rd round. And they're very excited about him here. He hasn't even been dressed.
No, it was like Hurst where, there's a little bit of everything too.
Yeah.
It's all worked very, very nicely. Come out to Razzles, Olmsted Falls this Thursday, November 9th, 7 to 8, live broadcast, the Kevin Stefanski Show. Z and Gerard on that. AWOC will be there, signing autographs from 7 to 8, brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Coming up next, we hit you with some of the hot topics, including the Monday Night Football game from last night. We are off and running. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Be part of the most passionate fan base of the National Football League. Join Next Gen STM, presented by Ticketmaster. Official waitlist for the Cleveland Browns. Being a Next Gen STM, best chance to become a season ticket member in future seasons. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/nextgenstm to reserve your spot today. Time for the hot topics. You and I both were excited to see the Governor on with the Mannings. Sad. It was sad. It was really disappointing. I love the Mannings. I love the Manning cast, especially on a game like that one that's garbage.
Yes.
That we knew was going to be garbage from the jump. I'd be honest with you, like I couldn't even tell you what happened in the first half of this game because I was just hoping that they would get the interview with Arnold right, and I was watching that. And then the one thing we were worried about was technology getting in the way, and in fact it did even earlier. Peyton couldn't hear Eli as it got started. And then they bring on Arnold, and
you and I were live texting each other as this unfolded.
That's correct.
Arnold felt like to me, it felt like Arnold didn't have the game on wherever he was.
No question.
And just felt like, okay, I'm coming on. I'm doing an interview, and just proceeded to do kind of a normal interview. You know, he tried to tie some things back to football. He's like, football players now are working out and they're strong with the weights and all of that. But he was doing, 3-minute soliloquies while turnovers were happening. Big plays were happening and nobody could do it. And they tried to go with, the canned. You can't go like maybe one kickoff and then just have a conversation, watch ball, talk to Arnold. I mean, that was as bad of an interview as there could be with Arnold. And I felt like Peyton was trying. Eli was just so locked in on the I'll be back stuff. And then I think Arnold's like, I'm done with it.
I don't think there's any doubt.
I don't think that was technology. I think he was like.
And you and I were texting because when they came back, Peyton was like pissed off that Arnold left and blamed Eli for going back. He said, I already sent it to break with "We'll be back." Why did you have to do that? Like that all played out on the thing. I couldn't agree with you more. I think Arnold had someone publicist said, hey, do this. This is really popular. You'll maybe go viral. We'll get some attention from the book. So do it. He did it. I'm sure he was aware of who they are, but I don't know if he necessarily knew all of it or what he was. No question, he didn't know what he was signing up for. There's no chance.
No.
Or that he would be talking while also broadcasting a live football game. Like there was no chance he had any knowledge.
He did call the touchdown though, Eckler, and almost got it on the very next play from 27 yards out.
He did. Yeah, he nailed that. The Eckler touchdown on the next play would have been cool. But it was so disappointing because like Peyton Manning is probably the most likable, gregarious, smartest, funniest athlete we have. And he is relying on these cue cards and these setup bits. And so they don't even get to all of it. Like he apparently later explained that one of their calls that they used in Indy and in Denver was Arnold, which was a pump. It meant if you run a corner, then you pump it. So if we call Arnold, whatever route you're running, you're turning it up. If I say Arnold. So he didn't even get to that because they were doing all this canned stuff with the Terminator and all this stuff, and they just kept reading the cue cards. I'm going, God, stop with the cue cards. And then they got into cue cards with Lawrence, which was crazy. Like, just talk.
Just talk, especially with a guy like that where you could just talk ball. And that's when I think the Manning cast is at its best. It's like them and a quarterback watching and talking ball. I heard Keyshawn was okay, but I was out by that point.
You and I text, we were done. I'm done. The game was trash, which you knew that it would be. I'm always curious, because I do think, tell me where you stand with this. I think Buck and Aikman are the best going right now.
Agreed.
And they're sharing bad games and sharing the calls of game. Like the checks are cashing. That's what the money's for. I get it. But there has to be some of them that is like, man, this kind of sucks. Like half of the the vast majority still watch them, but like everything that's trending is coming off of Banning.
100%.
It's not coming off of them at all. And I think they're the best thing going right now.
It's
a weird spot.
I would even say, I think the top 3 teams right now, they're one. I still love Jim Nance.
Oh, for sure.
And Romo he's still good when he's not being too cutesy.
Yeah.
And then I think Ian Eagle and Charles Davis are great.
I think you have that correct. I don't have a problem with that order. Or
and I have and by the way, I think Greg Olson has gotten significantly better.
They're all good. Those guys are all fine, but there's a level that those 3 have, and I think right now Aikman and Buck are at the top of the line. Like Aikman was not pleased with having to call another Zach Wilson game at all. And he went, like, even on SVP after the game was over, like, he made it known, like, the disgust at the quarterback play that is happening in New York. So he's not shying from that anymore.
It's crazy to me that they just haven't they had an opportunity to address it. They could have gotten Josh Dobbs. They could have signed Carson Wentz weeks ago. At least Carson Wentz is going to win some games for them with their as good as their defense is and the fact that he can throw it to Garrett Wilson. How did they think this was okay?
Do you think that they were really convinced that – do you think they are really convinced that Rodgers is going to play again this year? I mean, he said to Derwin James, the mic picked it up like a few weeks. Derwin's like, are you coming back? And he's like, yeah, a few weeks. Like, come on.
There's
no way.
There's no way. There's no way. I do think that they think he will come back. I think that would be predicated upon them making the playoffs, though.
Right.
And I don't know that they're going to do that with Zach Wilson. I mean, it's amazing they're 4-4.
It really is. Yeah, he's pretty wildly incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson is being wasted. I mean, that was the guy that was supposed to win fantasy. He was supposed to be Justin Jefferson this year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not. No, it was bad ball. And, yeah, it was disappointing. Arnold just bailed on him.
I was like, I've
had enough.
This is silliness.
I've had enough of this nonsense. I mean, I did what I wanted to do. I came in, I plugged my book, and that was kind of the extent of it. That's the way that it goes. So for the kids out there, a lot of people out there want to create content, like have a rundown of things that you want to talk about maybe. I mean, we have a rundown here on the show in terms of this is where we're going next. Have a roadmap, but don't script.
No, you can't.
Like at one point, Peyton is reading a question off of a cue card to Trevor Lawrence, comparing Lawrence basically saying, Trevor, how do you compare yourself with Justin Herbert? You guys are both young players in the league. You hear those comparisons. How do you compare yourself with him? That's all he's trying to get out. But he's on a cue card reading it and stumbling over it because he's reading it.
Right.
Instead of just asking the question.
Right.
Just ask Trevor about Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
The end.
The thing where they put Peyton's forehead and hair on Lawrence was pretty funny.
Very funny. Yeah. But have one of those bits.
Right.
Yeah. You
don't need a lot of bits.
You don't need the bits. It's good enough on its own.
That's right.
I think the other thing that's happening in this league, and I said this, I think, last Monday on the show, it's a lot of bad ball. There's a lot of incompetent quarterback play. There is a lot of bad offense. There have been so many quarterback injuries and injuries to key players, and oddly enough, they've happened to a bunch of teams that we thought would be good. If you think about the injury now to Cousins, although Dobbs was fun, but like how sustainable is that? Obviously, Rodgers. We had Stafford out this week. Fields, who I remember at one point this summer, Fields was the number one most bet for MVP, and he hasn't played in weeks and wasn't very good when he did. Anthony Richardson was supposed to be a little bit of box office. He hasn't played since week 2,
and he's done.
So there's all
Perot
these
was
instances.
hurt early on.
Right. Even Garoppolo, he would be solid for maybe the Raiders would be interesting, but now they're more interesting now with Aiden O'Connell. But it's just you had this one last night, which was just such a lopsided mismatch. You got this one on Thursday, which is Bryce Young, and hopefully Fields plays, so you have some interest maybe, but those teams are not teams of significance. And then Sunday night is Jets and Raiders running it right back.
I can't believe it. It's stunning to me. There he is.
Chesty.
Yeah, he's back. He's fully back. What a great weekend for him.
Yeah. It's just there's a lot of bad ball.
There is. You're right. There is a lot of bad ball.
What's Monday night next week?
So,
because that's the other thing that's happening is because of all these injuries to the Jets. So we've seen the Jets and the Patriots so often in prime time. Who do you got, Uno?
Buffalo
Broncos,
and Denver.
Yeah, Broncos
on
Bills.
Monday night.
That's not terrible. Broncos.
I just saw the Bills. They were
Broncos
just in
are playing
prime time
better.
Sunday against the Bengals. I just saw it.
Not only that,
that
but
part.
Denver's going
Spread
to
it
play
out.
Monday night, and then Denver, Minnesota next Sunday night. So you get Denver.
Why are they
back-to-back
doing this?
weeks
Why
in
is
prime
Denver
time.
twice?
Gibby, you are probably, in my view, the foremost expert on why announcing teams are calling games and what is going on with the television schedule. I mean that sincerely. You have an incredible handle on it. Why did it get scheduled this way? Why would you put Jets Monday, Jets Sunday, Broncos Sunday, Monday, Broncos Sunday, Bills Sunday, Bills Monday? What are we
Hold
doing?
on. And then the following week, the 4:25 CBS national game is Jets Bills.
Aaron Rodgers.
Now
It's
that-
all from the start of the year.
Right. And
All it takes is one guy going down to screw that whole
but
thing up.
even still, like to do it over, to batter you over the head over and over with the same teams.
Monday,
New York market.
week 11, has Thursday night Bengals Ravens. Good.
Very good.
Monday night.
It's a game of the week.
It's not, because Monday night is the Super Bowl rematch, Eagles-Chiefs in Kansas City.
So those are both very good. So you got two great ones. So that week 11, you'll get
But
a little juice.
everything else in between,
Everything else in between. is
outside
rough.
of our game with the Squealers, not so great.
No, there really isn't even an option for what should be put in a better position. Honest to goodness, they should have made our game Sunday night.
This week?
No, the Steelers,
the
Browns,
Steeler
but
game.
Gibbe said
We
that
should have been
wasn't
Sunday
possible.
night this week.
Well,
They
yeah,
should have flexed us
absolutely.
into Sunday night this week
100%.
instead of Jets Raiders. They should have done. It
100%.
should have been Ravens Browns Sunday night football. That's what it should have been. Problem solved.
I mean, the only choices really were us Ravens, Niners Jags, and Lions Chargers. Those are
Give
probably
me that
the only
one.
games.
Lions Chargers.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
So the reason I'm told, and this is from the league office, that Browns and Steelers was not flexed
Yeah.
is the first time they met was already in prime time.
Yep.
And if you're playing your divisional schedule, one of the games has to be either at 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock. If the
Nice.
other one's
You
in
can't go
prime
two
time,
primes.
so
Okay.
they couldn't put Brown Steelers in prime time again. I don't know why
Okay.
that sounds stupid to me, but
Well, but that wouldn't impact this week
no,
because that was a 1.
correct.
So there's no reason that this game isn't. I mean, not that you guys want to play a Sunday
Well,
night game and do all that and get home in
we're
the
on
middle of the night,
Fox, and it's not the A team calling it, which
but- So Fox has the two best games on Sunday because they have Jacksonville and
Niners
Niners. Is
at
that
the same time.
They're both at 1.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
strange.
it's a strange.
Usually you look at the week to week in the league and it makes sense. You go, okay, I get this. Like, I understand why this is. Usually you want an anchor. What you want is Sunday or Monday one of them needs to be a banger and the other one needs to have some intrigue. And then you need a game at 1 and you need a big one at 4. Like that's what you're hoping for. Thursday's a
Yes.
divisional game. Like you basically want great games across the board. It just feels like the league is stretched too thin and they bet way too big on the Jets and the Patriots and those type of teams. That's what it seems like to me.
yeah, it's not great. I mean, the late afternoon slate is as follows: Falcons Cardinals, Lions Chargers, Giants Cowboys is America's game of the week.
God.
Commanders,
Dan Dimes, by the way, out
Seahawks.
for the season.
Yeah.
Dan Dimes out for the season. First year,
Yeah.
4 years, 160. So that's Tommy DeVito in his shine box against the Cowboys.
He doesn't have a
yeah.
shine box.
Yeah.
There's nothing shiny about Tom DeVito.
No,
Yeah.
that won't be by
How about that
Sunday
was-
at 5 o'clock.
How about that was Maltasanti
That
that he was yelling at?
who was?
Tommy DeVito is
In-
Pesci
yes,
and
yes,
Goodfellas.
yes.
He says, "Hey, get your shine box."
Yeah.
But that's Maltasanti from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
who's got to go get the shine box.
Christopher.
Then he shoots him in the leg or the foot. Spider, get your shine box. Yeah, so that's what that one is. You get that to look forward to.
Yeah, it's
Bad
not,
ball.
I don't know what the thought process is, and then you get like two great games, but like Thursday night and Monday night, like
Yeah.
it's late. How
Yeah.
about
I think you got to have one banger either Sunday night or Monday night. Like that's a must. And to punt, like last night's a punt. This Sunday's a punt. Sunday night football. I'm not watching any of that. Raiders, Jets. I have no reason to watch a second of that. None.
No, won't do it.
No reason. So that's tough. Those are the hot topics today presented by Vivid Seats. Head to Vivid Seats to purchase the brand new Premium Terrace Experience. Your ticket comes with a pregame field pass, parking, all-inclusive food and beverage, and a $50 Brown Shop gift card. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, official fan experience partner of your Cleveland Browns. After further review, coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, Browns fans, you can enter for a chance to win season tickets to the 2024 season from Sugardale and your local Meijer. Head to browns.com/contest to enter now. And don't forget to grab Sugardale Bacon on your next trip to Meijer. Time for After Further Review. And for that, we go to Dr. Z.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much. We're going to play the sounder.
After review.
I'd like to find one that says after further review. Don't you feel like, let's put Uno on this. Uno, don't you think you can find one where he says after further review?
It has been an exhaustive search, more than you could ever imagine.
Because
I spent
they don't
2
show it
hours
anymore, right?
myself looking. Yeah,
They don't say it anymore.
correct. I'm still
Now it
looking,
happens
but
off.
We got to go to a TV copy from like the year.
The year 2000.
The year 2000. In the year 2000. All right, after further review, talking on the offense. First one, not positive, unfortunately. Too many zero gain and negative runs. And really, Jerome Ford has been guilty of that at a higher rate than the other runners on our team. And some of these things that have come out today about efficiency, and he's like at the bottom of the league in terms of running back efficiency.
Yeah.
We've got to do a better job, and whether that is a case of people up front. And I read another stat today, and I'm gonna ask about this as the week goes on. But I read another stat that Jerome Ford takes 3.15 seconds on average to get to the line of scrimmage, which is the highest amount of time in the backfield for any running back in the league.
Yeah, it's interesting because he obviously has that breakaway speed.
Right.
Like once he hits it, he goes. He's got the highest ceiling there.
For sure.
But yeah.
He's third on the team in yards after contact per attempt. He does force some missed tackles, but I do think it's a tough one. By the way, Jade McRae says I might have to create a little after further review
Don't
sounder
waste your
for
time,
you.
Jade. We love you, but it's not, it just
Gibbe, he's like a black hole of greatness.
it's a concrete wall that's going to prevent it. But we love you. We love you. I'm sure you'd kill it.
Of course she would kill it. Yeah. Beautiful voice. Sade. We just said it. So that's one thing I just think. That's one thing I think we got to clean that up, because those negative runs, what they do is set you up for a tough situation. Like all of a sudden it's second and long. So it's almost kind of like it puts you behind the sticks, and that's something I think the Browns really need to get cleaned up here as you go on. In this game, we averaged 2.8 yards per carry. We averaged 1.7 after contact. So on average, we're at 1 yard. We need to turn those into 4-yard plays, not 2.8. So that's number one. Number two.
After review.
Elijah Moore is consistently open, and I know a lot of people are disappointed with the stats that he has produced. You watch the tape, and he's open quite a bit downfield. And you would like to see him. Look at him. We're vesting. We've got the shoes on. He's shouting out Jay. Look at him. He's shouting out over here. He's got people everywhere. Everywhere. The whole world.
So many people to thank and
yes.
acknowledge.
He's running a business.
He's running a business. You walk through, the king walks through, you got to make sure that the peasants feel it.
Yes. So you got to. Right. You're the king. Let him see. But I think that there is more with Elijah Moore, and I would like to see him get that opportunity. And perhaps it's the kid actually gave me this suggestion, which I thought was pretty good. He goes, I'll just run the same plays, but have Moore be the primary option. And I was like, you know what?
Brilliant.
It's brilliant. If he's open,
brilliant.
Why not? I thought it was good. So
That's
there
great.
you go for the kid.
I love that out of the kid. Yeah, just 2 targets last week. That ain't it. Man.
No, and he's open. Like, put on the tape. He is open. Not saying Deshaun did a bad job finding him. The ball went other places, and I'm saying that's why he isn't getting the numbers that you would want. But it's there for him. He is open.
Yeah, if I would have told you back in August that he'd have 29 catches for 270 at this point, you would have said you're nuts.
No way.
No touchdowns?
No way.
No chance.
No chance. Yeah. Right. All right. Number 3.
After review.
So we talked about how are the Browns going to replace Donovan Peoples-Jones? Well, Cedric Tillman, big part of that. He played 54 snaps. Amari played 58. Elijah Moore, 45. But there was something else that happened in this game that was a little bit different. Nick Harris played 18 snaps. And I think sometimes they're just going to use him, say we'll take a receiver off the field and we're just going to line up and get beefy and we're going to run it. I mean, we ran out of the 3-headed backfield like a T formation.
We really did.
Which was fun to see. And I think that that's part of what they're going to do. So Nick Harris, season high, 18 snaps in this role. 15 of the 18 were runs. That's 83%, so that's a pretty big tell. We went play action, though, with him a couple times on the field and hit big plays off of it. So I think that becomes a little bit of a weapon for the Cleveland Browns. And then number 4.
At the review.
Deshaun Watson, what the last 2 games have had in common is that he has dominated from a clean pocket. And if you go back to his time in Houston, that's what he did. From clean pockets,
right.
He's 9 yards an attempt. He's 100-plus quarterback rating. He did that against Tennessee. He did that against Arizona. And then the other thing, on play action, he was 4 of 4 for 78 yards and 112 rating. So the play action game was very effective. And I think that we have established so much early down running. I think we're running on first down, and that's one of the things I'm going to get into in my research for the game this week, but we're running on first down, I think, at a very, very high rate. And I would be very curious to see how we do when we start doing more first down play action. I think that's where we're going to be able to get some chunk play. So that's the after further review on the offensive side of the ball. Defense.
At the review.
Expert job, by the way, back at the
Yes.
back
Holding
at
it
the
down.
fort. Good job.
Cam Mitchell's playing great football.
He is.
And you would expect a massive drop-off when Greg Newsome is out. And Greg Newsome is an excellent player and a premier player. Cam Mitchell has stepped in, and you've almost forgotten that you had him in there to replace Greg Newsome. He's played that well. So good, so willing as a tackler. I thought he was incredibly impressive in this game as not only a coverage defender, and they went at him. He was targeted 5 times, gave up 3 catches for 7 yards, had a pass breakup, the quarterback rating of 64 when targeted. You look at run stops, he was credited with 3 run stops. So a run stop at Pro Football Focus is a play where you get a stop, hence the name, tackled that constitute a failure for the offense. So near or behind the line of scrimmage as a run defender. And he had 3 of those. And kind of to put that into perspective for you in terms of 3, here are the other guys. Delpit had 5. Well, we're going to get to him in a second. Cam Mitchell 3, Owusu Koromoa 3, Dalvin 3, Zadarius 3, Shelby Harris 3. To have your nickel there, that's so huge when you have a guy that is willing to play run defense. And in fact, he was our highest graded run defender in the game. Number 2.
At the review.
One thing that stood out to me in this one is that we played 50% big nickel or big dime. Rodney McLeod is on there for 50% of the snaps. And that's been a kind of a game plan to game plan where you see his snaps and what he's able to do. But I think that this is a game coming up where we could see a lot of that. The first time around, he only played 19 of the 56 snaps that we played on defense. I think this week you might see more Rodney McLeod on the field, more big dime to handle the speed of the Ravens and what they're able to do, and big nickel as well with Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson in that ground game, and also have an extra guy that can really run with Mark Andrews. So that's something I'm going to keep an eye on in this one. Number 3.
At the review.
Grant Delpit. We talked about it yesterday. I really want Grant Delpit to be – I'd love to hear extension. 303 today. Browns lock up Grant Delpit for 4 years. I think that he is becoming a premier safety in this league.
303 today.
I think he's becoming a premier safety in this league. He's our leading tackler. He's making plays at the line of scrimmage in the run game. He's blitzing effectively. He's covering effectively. You go back to week 1, Grant Delpit, one-on-one with T. Higgins on a slot fade.
Yeah.
And he got that PBU that I think really helped solidify that game for the Cleveland Browns. So very, very, very impressed with what I have seen from him. Number 4.
At the review.
Just a game ball for everybody on defense, honestly. When you have an effort like this, it goes to everybody. And you watch the tape of this game, and one play, Sione Takitaki stands out, not just for his interception, which, by the way, was a tremendous job in coverage on that one. Shelby, Cam Mitchell, Miles, Zadarius, Denzel, Dalvin with a career high in sacks, and you got to give him a shout. We gave him a game ball already. Delpit, Obo had 4 pressures tied with the team high. Obo and Zadarius had 8 pressures combined in this game. Awok playing so steady in the middle of this defense. Thornhill never out of position, making plays. They didn't even target MJ. MJ was out there, had almost a day off He didn't even have to get involved. They didn't go at his direction at all. McLeod playing well. Just everybody that was involved made a play at one point or another. Maurice Hurst had 3 pressures in this one, had a tackle for a loss. So that really stood out to me. I will say, on a not as good final kind of little note, is Isaiah McGuire looked a little outmanned out there in his debut with the Browns. So you hope Alex Wright can get back soon. But you also hope that, for Alex Wright, for Isaiah McGuire, that was good experience and he's going to be able to learn and grow from that.
It's not just when we talk about this defense, which is you said that so eloquently yesterday when you talked about the floor being really high because of that defense that sets the floor very, very high. The frontline guys are stars, and they have played to star level. But it's the next guys who have handled it as well. The Cam Mitchell game, and this happens every week. There's a guy who has to step up because you get banged up. Rodney McLeod, that signing was one that wasn't maybe as heralded. That was been an excellent signing.
Yep.
So there's these guys behind the guys.
Guys behind the guys.
That are getting it done, man.
Yeah. That's right.
A lot of good depth.
Good depth, and it's needed. And now you did what you were supposed to do against an inferior opponent. And the test for the Cleveland Browns now is going to be, can you go and turn in a winning performance against the Baltimore Ravens? And we've seen in the past, we've gone in there, we've had games where we picked Lamar off 4 times.
Yep.
We have had success against Lamar Jackson. Now, the last time we played him, he had 4 touchdowns, 2 passing, 2 rushing.
Yeah.
It's a tough game to really glean anything from because of the situation and everything that happened with the Browns at quarterback. But this defense, you're going to need them to play at a high level because this is the chance. I'll be honest with you, folks. People are not giving the Browns a chance in this game. Nobody's even – in fact,
No.
There is more talk about the Ravens-Bengals, which does not occur for another week, than there is about Ravens-Browns.
There's
And
no doubt.
This is a statement game. You go in there, you win this game, you have the attention of the entire football world.
Well, and even and I know we're doing higher, lower, better, worse a little bit later, but even as you look at a lot of the power ranking stuff that's happened, a lot of people are elevating Baltimore appropriately so into top 3, top team in the league, that type of stuff. Lamar is on, unfortunately we knew this as soon as Todd was hired there, that this was how this was going to go because when
He
I
was
think
there,
of
Jim Schwartz.
he absolutely was. When you and I
Said that at the beginning.
Yeah, Eureka'd that one. We knew that he was when he was here on Freddie's staff, and we would have conversations with him.
He'd come in, he'd stand right there where those broken chairs are.
Yeah, good spot for them. And he would and we would talk to him like you knew you were in the presence of true football genius. Like he had another level of understanding of it.
Another level.
On another level. And then he did it at Georgia, but like Lamar, last 4 out for Lamar against Seattle, Arizona, Detroit, and Tennessee. Completion percentage, 80.8, 66.7, 77.8, 70. That's the last 3. He just doesn't miss. He's been ridiculous.
No, and he's making off-balance throws.
He's went 21 to 27, 357, and 3 scores against Detroit.
Yes, I'm aware. This is a big test.
He is on another level.
By the way, you'll love this. So I was walking out of the visitor tunnel across our end zone at the west end of the stadium.
All right.
And, fans always get fired. They shout stuff out. And I looked back at him, and there was a group of guys that were sitting there, and they're like, Z, we love you. There's something. And then he's like, on every level. Every level.
He nailed it.
I loved it.
Oh,
I was
love
like
that.
fired up.
That's very good.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very, very good.
Yeah. Well done.
That came from a converse where he was telling to catch with his body, not his hands.
It came from when
he was arguing with
that he had
Sherm and
yes. Because he told CeeDee Lamb to catch the ball with his body, not his hands, and Sherm's like, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
You can't do that. And he went apoplectic and was like, I've caught footballs and won championships on every level.
It's true.
It is true.
Can't argue with that part.
Sherm's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you're doing it right.
That's right. That's exactly right. All right, second hour of the program coming up next. One thought around the league in Week 9. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, and live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Pet Supplies Plus give you a chance to win tickets to home games all season long while providing the best deals for your pet at over 75 stores throughout Ohio. Enter to win at clevelandbrowns.com/Pet Supplies Plus. Receive a coupon to use at your local store with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Loyal listeners, I'm told.
We're on WCCC. We got a shout out to TB in T-Town. That's right. Troy Barros in Toronto. Go Browns. Jimmy Bang Bang.
That was like when on Stern, the Stern movie.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Thank you. That's exactly what
WN.
I wasn't going to do it for because I know you got to do it like Imus does.
Imus. You
Like
gotta do it like Imus.
WN.
And he'd always do it like this.
WNBC. Pig vomit.
Big vomit. Man.
That movie, by the
is
way,
awesome.
holds up. Every time I watch
Yep.
it, I find it to be joyous.
I haven't seen it in a while, but the last time that it was on, it holds up.
Oh.
So great.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Amazing.
It's very good. Yeah. The only thing that's crazy about it is it is really a love letter to his first wife.
Very much so.
Yeah, and then so like that.
Yeah. I want to give me another one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that but the other thing is like
He's not that anymore now. He's the best interviewer on the planet.
right. He does that, but then also like at that point you didn't really know who he was. Like I remember as a kid growing up where I did. Like the first time I ever saw him was on the cover of the book, Private Parts.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't syndicated in Montana. I never heard of him.
Oh yeah.
There was
sure.
no internet. It's not like I was
You
tracking
weren't
it
watching
down.
You weren't watching the VMAs.
No, I remember him on
superhero character.
I remember him on VMAs doing that, but at the time I was like, I don't know who this is, but it's not like I could Google it.
Sure.
So I would see this guy. It's like, well, here's a weirdo, but I don't know I have no context of it. I'm not listening to him. There is no. The only thing I remember him on was Letterman. I remember him on like Late Night with Letterman being quite funny. That I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
But it was really Private Parts. The first time I ever saw him was the book.
Yeah.
In like Barnes and Noble or whatever. But yeah, it does hold up.
Very
Very
good.
well. Very, very well. Good job to you. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
One thought.
My WCCC. I feel like that was one of his first stations. That's when he was like.
Could have been. He was in Hartford or
Yeah, and then
Detroit
it like, and
or
then
something.
when
in
I think
DC.
it came in, we got a whole new angle.
Yeah, that's
country, a whole new angle. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Take us to the top. Oh man.
Week 9, one thought in the National Football League. We'll get things started off with in Germany. And Kansas City 21, Miami 14. By the way, Germany Part 2 is this weekend. 9:30 in the morning. Colts, Patriots.
Nope.
You want to, well, it'll be on in our booth, but
Yeah.
you want to
did
talk
like-
about one game compared to another game?
They did like almost 10 million at 9 a.m.
9.2.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
Look, I think the biggest takeaway from here, there's two, and they both revolve around the defense of Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense is legitimately really good. It might be the best defense Mahomes has ever played with. They don't have their offense sorted out. And then the byproduct of that is we have to kind of face the facts here that Miami's not the same when they play good teams offensively. And it's a pretty big dip. It's not. It's like they had a stat up over the weekend. It's like 100-yard dip when they play teams with winning records. So that part's real too.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Kansas City is not what we associate with their offense. It's not
No.
explosive. It's none of those things.
Mahomes has like 8 picks, doesn't he, or 7?
Let's see on the season: 17 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Yeah, that's wild.
It is wild. Not even averaging 300 yards a game. Their D, though, to your point, and I think that's a takeaway, is that their D, they have a championship defense, and they're playing those young corners they drafted are very good. Chris Jones is a game wrecker. They've been very impressive, and that's really what's carried them. I mean, you look at their games, you're used to Chiefs being like 35 this, 30, and they have a couple games where they were explosive. They, 38 on the Cards, 41 on the Bears, 31 on the Chargers, but most of their games 21, 9, 19, 27, 23, 17, 20. That's not what you are associate with the Kansas City
not
Chiefs,
at all.
but their D has been electric.
Up next, guys, the Vikings. No Kirk Cousins, no problem. Josh Dobbs comes off the bench, 31-28. Vikings won 4 in a row. The gutless Falcons go to 4-5. Zaguro, one thought.
So everybody is up in arms right now. Bijan Robinson not getting the ball enough. Bijan Robinson not being used near the goal line at all.
Yeah.
Why'd you draft him in the first round
Right.
then? Arthur Smith today.
Oh,
this
give
is
it to us.
courtesy
What
of
is
our
this-
of our people who are on the board. And
The sensitive genius. What did he have to say?
He said his impact away from the ball can really open things up.
So can it when he has it.
Yes, thank you to @TheOnlyRace. He said the smugness of this comment, LOL. It is incredible. So we drafted a guy in the first round at a position that we shouldn't have drafted in the first round to have him be a decoy. Cool, got it. They're so bad.
There is some kind of disconnect. Maybe coach didn't want him, and the front office did, and therefore Arthur Smith's going, I'm just not going to play him.
I would think that Smith would be the most powerful guy in football in that operation, wouldn't you?
I don't know who the GM
Who was hired first? Wasn't he hired first?
Who?
Atlanta. Wasn't Arthur Smith hired first?
I believe so, yeah.
So I think he would answer
He's
to
the guy.
almost nobody
Yeah.
football unless Arthur Blank came in and said, I want Bijan.
Terry Fontenot.
Yeah, so Arthur Smith is running that show. I'll tell you.
Fontenot's been there since 2021.
I would think it's Smith. One takeaway for me, good on you, Josh Dobbs. That's awesome to be able to pull that off, and one of the best guys. Loved him anytime he came in here. Just a great human, and I love him being able to have that moment with Minnesota. He didn't even know the people's names.
Correct.
Didn't know cadence. Learning the route tree in his helmet before plays. It was just crazy.
And I was looking this up while we were talking because I saw something today, and I think it's real, that he's been selected to go to space.
Josh Dobbs?
I did see him in like a spacesuit. Uno shaking his head yes.
It's
Must be
Uno, talk to us.
I mean, I don't know if it's real. I also saw it, so I.
Oh, he's shaking his
You
head.
just
But
confirmed
he's a
it.
rocket scientist and everything.
This
isn't
is
he?
from
He is, yeah.
This is from NFC North News. It's got
Sounds
8,000
reputable.
followers. It's got a blue check, but we know that doesn't mean anything today. It says Vikings Joshua Dobbs, who is currently a part-time rocket scientist / astronaut for NASA, has been selected to lead a crew of astronauts that will orbit Mars in late 2024. Congratulations to Josh Dobbs and the Vikings. Wow. So the only thing about that is late 2024 would be in the football season.
I can't imagine
So-
that's true.
I don't know, but he's still really cool. And what he
Yeah.
did last week was awesome.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
Up next, the Ratbirds improved to 7-2, a 37-3 pasting of the Seattle Seahawks. Bo Bishop, one thought.
Lamar's on a short list for MVP. 80% completion percentage in this game. Absolutely ridiculous. On the flip side, Geno Smith has been brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal for Seattle this year. I think he's only got 2 games this season over 100 or over 100 quarterback rating, and he was absolutely dreadful in this game. They've got big problems there, but Lamar he's on a short list for MVP again.
The Baltimore Ravens defense is elite. And that is going to be the biggest challenge for us. We talked about Lamar, and that is a monstrous challenge. That's going to be the biggest challenge for us in this game. You know, they've shut down in their last 2 home games, Lions, Seahawks. They've beat them by a combined score of 75-9.
They are 3-0 versus teams
Jeez.
that entered the game with a winning record against us, Detroit, and Seattle. 28-3, 38-6, and as you said, 37-3. The Ravens did not trail in any of those 3 games.
So I think it's important. You got to get out to lead, and you got to flip the pressure onto them.
Yes. And I just wonder what the Ravens will do, because I feel like every time we go and play there, it's some salute to a former Super Bowl team, or Ray Lewis is coming out of the tunnel to start the game. Right off the get-go, you're like, oh, boy, we got to deal with that.
That's
Yep.
all right.
Not to mention drunk fans that occasionally climb into radio booths. That's neither.
Well, in there, it's
That happens.
It's in play, yeah.
It happened a couple years ago in the home radio booth.
Is that press box still where it's been?
They haven't. Simone has not moved it yet.
Yeah. They've got. I mean, it's too good.
coming.
Yeah, the location's too
It's
good.
coming.
It's the best press box in football.
Yes.
Next up, the Packers actually get on the winning track. They knock out the Los Angeles Rams 20-3. Packers 3-5 on the year. Rams fall to 3-6 without Matt Stafford. Zagura, one thought.
The Rams are kind of morphing into what we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I mean, really, the outlier is what they did week 1, but
Which was
their
Seattle.
norm is this.
Yeah.
And no Stafford, but
No, but I mean, Cooper Kupp he hasn't done much since he's been back. Green Bay is dreadful. They're not fun. There's nothing fun about watching them play football. Christian Watson was kind of a fun receiver last year, and he's done absolutely nothing this
No.
year. I don't know. I just hope they can get it together and build some momentum against the Steelers.
It just tells you how bad it deteriorated between Rodgers and management that they felt the need to draft this kid, and then keep him along, and then eventually play him, versus rather just surrounding Rodgers with talent,
winning a Super Bowl
with Green Bay and going to win a Super Bowl. Like,
it's crazy.
He ain't it.
No,
this is his 4th year there. He's finally playing. He ain't it.
I agree.
Up next, a fun one to talk about. The Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud take down Baker and the Buccaneers 39-37. Houston's 4-4, playing themselves into a little bit of a playoff race here. Tampa Bay falls to 3-5. Bishop, one thought.
D'Amico Ryans, man, that dude's got it.
It was a rebuilding year.
It was totally, yeah. And
not so fast.
The way he handled the last 40-some seconds with C.J. was incredible. And then C.J. Stroud's really good. I mean, that's just it. You go 470 and 5 touchdowns. You lead a 40-second drive with 2 timeouts to win it. They have to score a touchdown. Like, field goal's not helping them. He's sensational.
He's great.
Whose phone's up? Or
not mine, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know.
Gotcha.
Noah Brown, 6 for 153 and a touchdown. Dalton Schultz, 10 for 130 and a touchdown. Tank Dell, 6 for 114 and 2 touchdowns. They had 3 receivers with 100 yards and a touchdown in this game. C.J. Stroud spreading it around. Incredible job by the Houston Texans. And then you got to also, I'll flip around, Rachaad White's a must-start every week in fantasy. He's catching the ball and scoring every single week. And Baker played a good game and did what he could. A nice one play to extend it on a 4th down. Did you guys see the finish that almost happened when he completed a pass? The Texans knocked it out. Mm-hmm. This is at the end of regulation, which would have been a Texans dub. Knocked the ball out. It bounces into their hands.
Overtime. This one
didn't. Oh no, right, no. So this would have been the last drive of the Bucks before they scored.
Yes, correct.
So he throws it down to like the 15. Guy's on a slant. The DB comes, punches it out. It bounces up right into their guy who's trying to just catch it and fall down. As he's going down, he bumps into another Texan who was going for the ball. The ball pops up in the air right to Mike Evans.
Yep. I have Mike Evans in fantasy. I'm like, is that a Mike Evans catch? Can we count that as a Mike Evans catch?
That play was wild.
Yeah.
Up next, the Commanders take down the Patriots. Gross. 20-17. Commies are 4-5. Patriots 2-7. Zagura, one thought.
Sam Howell is, like, if you just look at his stats, he's kind of fun. He'll have games where he throws, I think it's back-to-back 300-yard games. He's thrown for 2,500 yards already this year in his 9 games.
He's just good enough to lull you into thinking he's more than he is.
Yep.
And then yes, very much so.
Yeah.
I think this is an incredible loss for the Patriots because you're going against a team that just traded away both of its starting defensive ends and best 2 pass rushers. And I know the interior of their line's still good, but to have that happen to lose to the Commanders, they're dreadful. There's nothing fun about them either. There isn't a single fun player on that team.
New England?
Yeah, not a single fun player.
They're completely void of offensive fun talent. Totally.
That's what I mean.
There's not one guy that you're like, well, this guy's fun
and
to watch.
And they've ruined Ramondre. Ramondre was fun last year.
Wrecked him. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's Washington's won what now? They won they won their first 2. All right, so they're back on the winning side of things. It's the number here is 2-7. That's the record in New England. So they are now in a position where they can lean into this. Guys, I don't know if you looked at the bottom of the league.
They're like the top 6 pick.
I don't know if you looked at the bottom of the league. There's like 11 teams 2 games under 500.
Yeah.
Like you guys, we always talk about like an NFL draft lottery with Caleb Williams out there. This would be the year because there's going to be a bunch of teams chasing the floor.
I wish that we had. I also wish this was the year where they just said the best 14 teams are going to make the playoffs and seeded them up because
that would solve it too.
That would solve a lot of problems. NFC's. If we were in the NFC right now, we'd be going after the 2
Eagles.
seed.
Us and the Eagles, yeah.
Next, I said the Commies and Patriots was the worst game of the week. The Saints and Bears said hold our beer. Saints 24, Bears 17. The Saints are somehow 5-4. The Bears are 2-7. Bishop, one thought.
Well, I mean, somehow 5-4 because they luck out and they play in that division.
Yeah,
and they play in that conference. It's bad ball.
5 Bears.
The Saints are going to win like 10 games. Is how this is going to go.
Because they have a solid D.
Yeah.
They've got some weapons. I mean, it'd be nice if Olave could come back to relevance. He runs like 3-yard routes, apparently. That's all he gets to do. But what's intriguing to me about
he is not on the same page with Carr at all. Like,
no.
If you watch, it's
awful. But what they do have that's fun is Taysom Hill. And this guy, I mean, I remember in 2018 they're talking about him as the quarterback future, and he's
They
returning
franchised
kicks.
him.
He's returning kicks.
Yeah.
And now, in this game, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, he threw a touchdown, he caught a touchdown, and he led the team in running.
Yeah, he gets all the red zone stuff. Like all the stuff
All
near
of
the
it.
goal line, he gets it.
So we'll get to our power rankings coming up here in just a few minutes from ESPN. They asked every team writer to submit their non-QB MVP. They put Taysom Hill. And I'm like, I feel like it's a quarterback.
He's a tight end.
I feel like you need to come back.
He's a tight end.
Yeah, he's a tight end.
He caught 4 passes, he ran for 50 yards, and he threw 1 pass for 3 yards and a touchdown. It's crazy.
Up next, the late games. Colts 27, Panthers 13. Ugh. Colts finally snapped their losing streak. Zagura, one thought from you.
I can't believe that I backed the Panthers. They're dreadful.
I can't either.
I'm disgusted with myself.
Can't
It was
either
such a
think you did
dumb
that.
one. It was just to be, who knows, trying to be different. What an idiot.
All right.
Bryce Young threw
A little
2
hard
pick
on
sixes
yourself.
in this game in the day that the guy who picked one spot after him threw for 470 and 5 scores. And honestly, the pick sixes to the same guy, by the way. The third pick might have been even worse. He threw a ball over the middle of the field that does not. It basically could have been fair caught. It could have been fair. You could have just. It was bad. It's bad. With the way Levis played, Stroud obviously
Not great.
not great, Bob.
Again, from the ugly file, Raiders 30, G-Men 6. Raiders improved to 4-5. First win for Antonio Pierce, the interim coach of the Raiders. Bishop, one thought.
This was the idea that when we picked this was 1.5. This was just free money.
Free money.
Free money. This was the easiest call of the week. I think I ended up 10-3 or something like that this week.
It was a good
But
week.
this was the easiest call of the entire week. This was such a no-brainer. You get out from under the yoke. It was like young Z when he went off to Atlanta for college and was freed of the Pedro yoke and just was allowed to flourish. That's what it was like for the Raiders. Footloose and fancy-free.
It was, and great post game. Tommy DeVito actually completed 15 of 20. Good for him.
Hey, Spider, get your shine box.
He kind of had a Madden game. 15 of 20, 175, a touchdown, 2 picks. So of his 20 passes, only 3 of them hit the ground.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a little Madden-y.
That is maddening, yeah.
Here's the thing. My takeaway from this game, because this affects my fantasy teams, is like I'm not sure that Devontae Adams is playable anymore. Like if his name wasn't Devontae Adams, you would have played him for weeks.
Yeah, you just see it there and you go, am I really not going to play him?
4 for 34 in this one. Listen to his game logs. Week 1, 6 for 66. Week 2, 684 and a touchdown. Week 3, 13, 172 and 2. You're like, all right, Devontae Adams, we're back. Well, he hasn't scored since then. Week 4, 8 for 75. Okay, fine. Then 4 for 45, 2 for 29, 7 for 57, 1 for 11, and 4 for 34. He hasn't hit 60 yards in a game in 5 straight, and he has no touchdowns in 6 straight.
But I think he's on board with the new regime.
He's on board with anything other than the old regime.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
How does that guy keep like? How do you even hire McDaniels after what he did in Indy?
But we were enamored with him here. I mean, that was close.
I don't know.
It was.
All right, final
It's
one
wild.
here, gentlemen,
I don't know.
and it was a good one. I feel like you can lump the Cowboys in with the Dolphins here in terms of when it's a big game.
This is the first game they played close, Gibby. Like, usually they're either blown out or they get blown out.
Yeah.
It's weird with them.
Eagles win 28-23. Eagles 8-1. Cowboys 5-3. Zagura, one thought.
We need to institute as a fantasy football community.
Oh boy.
We need to give DeAndre Swift 3 points every time that he gets tackled inside the 1 yard line because it's happened about 12 times. And then Jalen Hurts tush pushes or brotherly shoves into the end zone, which happens every single game. And if we had that, DeAndre Swift might be the best fantasy back in the league. So I would like to institute that in the name of fairness. Also, very sad to see Dallas Goedert fracture his forearm. You knew it right away.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I'd say this about Philly. They're still not right. It doesn't feel like it feels like they can't shift into 4th or into 5th gear, depending on your transmission of choice. And yet they are 8-1?
Yep.
I don't think we've seen their best, which should be scary because they haven't all clicked all at once. Whether it's Smith and why am I blanking? 11.
A.J. Brown, baby.
Yeah, AJ. They haven't both gone at the same time. You mentioned so they just, for whatever reason, with DeAndre, all of it, like it isn't all going at the same time, but they start every series 1st and 8, and
they're just good.
And they're
Their
good.
D is good.
They're
Their
really good.
Pass rush is
So it's scary because if they ever go the way they started going last year at times, then you got a real problem on your hands. And they're 8-1, and it doesn't feel like they're at full capability right now.
Yeah.
If you could vote one for Offensive Player of the Year, A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill?
I think A.J. Brown. He had
Probably
6
after
straight with
last
125.
week, probably AJ. Tyreek had a brutal fumble
Yeah.
in that game that went for 6.
Yeah.
So that would probably be it. Hey, Browns fans, Cleveland Browns Daily broadcasting live, Buffalo Wild Wings, Avon Lake next Tuesday, November 14th, 1 to 3. Dave Zassadil will sign autographs on site from 2 to 3. Visit Cleveland Browns Facebook page for more information on that. We'll go around the NFL. Quite a bit of news to get through here. We've got a little higher lower coming up as well. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, and live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, visit your local Tide Cleaners during the month of October for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Browns home game. You'll automatically be entered to win with any purchase. I'll be honest with you. Did you watch much of the game last night, the Chargers and Jets?
I did not watch 1 second.
Not 1 second.
Not
You and
Yeah,
I
we
bailed
watched.
it.
Yeah, we bailed around the half.
I bailed around halftime.
Yep.
I'd seen enough, and it was one of those ones that's going to be classic, kind of what the Chargers are. Like they're gonna dominate a team like this and bury them, and you're gonna think that they're more than they are, and then somehow along the line, your boy's gonna blow it. That's
Yeah, they're
kind of the
going to
way
lose. Yeah.
they'll lose some games they're not supposed. They have 9 sacks last night though.
The Chargers?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, the Jets, well, he holds the ball. It's
I think
ridiculous.
they had 4 guys have 2.
Yeah.
I think Bosa had 2.
Bosa had 2.5.
2.5, and then Khalil Mack had 2.
Yep.
They had 4. I think they had 4 guys with at least 2 sacks
That's awesome.
in the game last night. So that's the way that went. Vikings announced they're going to roll with Josh Dobbs next week against the Saints. That makes sense that would be the case. He might be the only healthy quarterback they have.
Yeah, I think he might
Hall
be.
got hurt in
He's
the
in
game.
concussion protocol.
Yeah.
The Giants, as I mentioned earlier in the program, confirmed that Daniel Jones is going to miss the season with a torn ACL. So Tommy DeVito and Matt Barkley are the quarterbacks with Tyrod Taylor on IR.
Jeez Louise.
Here, you want some quarterback news? I'll give you some quarterback news.
Oh, I was just going to pull this, yeah.
Carson Wentz is signing with the Los Angeles Rams to back up Matthew Stafford.
Why wouldn't the Jets sign him? Why would they sign him?
Of all teams, why would they sign him? So Stafford must be down for a couple of weeks, and they don't want to
Yes.
go with Rippon, and McVay
Yes.
still thinks he can make some noise if he gets in the playoffs.
Some more quarterback news. Titans rookie quarterback Will Levis takes over as the starter per
yeah.
Mike Vrabel. Duh. Tannehill earned so much respect for winning big games for the Titans over the last 4 years. Total pro. It's from Diana Rossini.
Yeah, they should have traded Tannehill to the Jets at the deadline.
Yes.
Yes.
Solved.
Or I thought Tannehill was going to go to Minnesota.
Fine. Pick one. But
So
that
not
should have been
trading
done.
him, not trading Garoppolo.
Right.
Oh, they're idiot.
I don't understand it.
Yes.
Like, move on. Come on. Be nimble. Move on.
I have one other thing for you for around the league.
Go ahead.
I saw this yesterday from Field Yates. So this might be the worst. Again, we talk about the NFL schedule makers.
Yeah.
Not sure the thought process in the bye week and the number of teams with big-time players on the bye. These are who are on the bye week this week. Hurts, Mahomes, Tua, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Raheem Mostert,
Good Lord.
DeAndre Swift, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert. Like those
This is
are
a fantasy,
all on the bye week.
fantasy graveyard this week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
This will be tough stringing a team together. Look forward to explaining that to NBC.
We'll guide him through. We'll guide him through.
Well, I'm going to get so many pickups, so we're up against it.
Yeah, but this is when you
Ridiculous. He's
this is
going to
when you
have
need
to
him.
sort it
We're
out.
getting through the regular season. I mean, you're
Yeah.
week 10.
Kyler
Does
Murray
it smell
going
like
to start.
burnt toast?
Yeah, there was. Something's going on. Been infiltrated. Kyler Murray's going to start this
Smells like
weekend.
burnt toast.
Sounds like
Hopefully our
James
stuff's not
James
on fire
Conner
in
is
there.
going to come back as well.
Yeah, they're going to try to
potentially,
get him
so.
back. Yeah,
Look, that Kyler playing well benefits them every way.
on every level.
I like it.
It does. We had that yet. We had that last week with Howard Balzer.
Yeah,
we
the
brought
great
that up to him.
H Balls nailed that. Yeah, that was the idea. It's the man's nickname.
Yeah.
All right, but I did tell NBC I picked up Kyler like 3 weeks ago for him because
I have him in a few leagues.
He had Rodgers, then he's been playing Jordan Love, which has been dead. And I'm like, dude. So I picked up Kyler like 3 weeks ago. I was like, Dad, he can't even play. I'm like, yeah, but he will.
He will.
He will
no,
play.
thank you.
And then you're welcome. Okay.
I'm in a league right now where we picked up C.J. Stroud because Fields went down, and he's been great. But we also stashed Kyler, and you can't carry 3 quarterbacks, so we're going to have I feel like an
So you got to
impossible decision.
You have to drop either Stroud, Fields, or
Kyler.
Kyler.
It's probably Stroud.
he's broken.
But I don't know. Fields is though he's so electric from fantasy with his running.
Yeah.
Are we sure that he's going to even be that guy when he comes back?
No, what we're going to end up doing is probably just hanging on to all 3 of them because I don't want to give somebody any of those guys.
Probably a smart move there. Browns fans, you enter for a chance to win season tickets for the 2024 season from Sugardale and your local Meijer. Head to browns.com/contest to enter now. And don't forget to grab Sugardale Bacon on your next trip to Meijer. A little higher, lower, better, worse. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM Preferred Copiers and Document Services Provider, your Cleveland Browns. Can tackle any size office. The number there is 216-485-2000. Visit OhioBusinessMachines.com. Time for a little higher, lower, better, worse. Presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, who remind you to know the risks before you gamble. Hello, Gibby.
Gentlemen,
Gibba.
welcome into Higher or Lower, presented by the Ohio Lottery. Today, ESPN's NFL Nation Power Rankings.
Okay.
Compliments of Uno. Each one.
Uno is doing the ESPN Power Rankings?
Uno is ESPN's power ranker?
Yeah, I write them all
It's
myself.
amazing, Uno. Good job out of you. You've really
no
progressed.
wonder he's in that business shirt today.
The
Business
sharp,
is
the
picking
sharp
up.
white.
It is a crisp white.
Very crisp white.
Minus the gray shirt underneath.
I like it.
Hey,
Uno,
That's right, Uno.
strong, crisp white, Uno.
I liked it. First thing I said when I walked in, I'm like, someone die? What's going on? Why are you dressed up?
No, he looks great.
He does. He looks good.
That
I told
is
him, like, that's the off-season attire.
That
Once
is
I
a
get in
very Ohio thing. Is the T-shirt under the button-up? I never did that growing up. I never did that in the South. And then I come here, and everyone under dress shirts is wearing T-shirts. I'd never seen that before. Did you experience that out west?
The burning smell is bad.
no, it is.
It hasn't gone anywhere. We're either all
Doesn't
dying of a
let-
stroke, or
I can't
I don't know.
smell
I hope
anything.
not.
So for the fact I
Wouldn't
can
be the
smell
worst
it
way.
is probably not
No.
a bad thing.
go down with the ship.
I got a lot of life to live. I'm
Same.
not ready yet.
I had a good
Oh,
run.
same.
man.
Ready,
Whatever's going to happen.
Same.
Yeah, I'm not in that.
So every ESPN NFL Nation reporter at the midway point had to also select their non-QB MVP.
Okay.
Obviously, an easy week for one Jake Trotter, as Myles Garrett is
Sure,
the
sure.
non-QB MVP. If I take Myles out of it, who's your non-QB MVP of your Cleveland Browns at the halfway point, gentlemen?
Amari.
That's what yeah.
Where are you with that, Amari?
Yeah.
Not here.
Nope.
You know, I mean, he's kind of the only. Yeah. I think it's Amari. I think it's Amari.
I agree.
All right. We kick things off with the Cleveland Browns at number 10 this week in the power rankings. Two teams ahead of them, the 49ers and the Cowboys. The two teams behind them, the Buffalo Bills and the Seattle Seahawks. Zagura, higher, lower, or just right for your 10th ranked Cleveland football Browns?
I think it's probably a good sweet spot. I mean, it's interesting that the Bengals are 7, we beat them. The Niners are 8, we beat them. But then right behind us at 12, the Seahawks, we lost to them. 13, the Steelers, we lost to them. So,
What's the statute of limitations on we beat you, and that's the first tiebreaker? Like how much down in the schedule?
yeah, it feels like in
You know
this
what I
one, it's
mean?
not. It's a couple. It doesn't matter.
I'm not this one. I know, but like you
Yeah.
mentioned, like Cincinnati, like we beat them in week 1.
Sure.
And this happens in college football all the time. Like I had somebody telling me, well, the Ohio State win against Notre Dame doesn't mean as much because Notre Dame lost at Clemson. No. That was Notre Dame was all in on that in South Bend. That meant everything.
It was
to
a
them.
huge win.
It was a great win.
Dramatic
You can't
win.
diminish it just because what's happened since,
Or because they had 10 guys on the field.
or because they had 10 guys on the field. Same.
Not for not one play, but two.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
allegedly.
It turns out it's hard to stop a run to the left when you don't have a
You know,
defensive
DN,
tackle
baby.
or a DN
Tough,
on that side.
tough.
Yeah.
I tell you,
Next.
I
Go
tell
ahead.
with us,
Higher or lower?
What were you
like
going to say?
I just gonna say, like, right, the number's fine, but it doesn't make sense what's around it. You know what I mean?
I think that's fair.
That's where I'm at with it. Like I the Niners have lost 3 in a row. Like they added Chase Young, so they're going to be great again defensively. That's an enormous signing. But at the same time, like they have lost 3 straight, including one to us.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, up next, the Eagles are at number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs are at number 2, Bo Bishop. Higher, lower, or just right? The Ravens,
All right,
by the way, are
let's-
number 3.
Let's do this exercise. If you were to bet on
We can't.
fair. If you were to say everything I have on this team winning today, who would you pick first?
The Chiefs.
Same.
Same. So there are 2 here. That's fine. I get it. They're behind Philly. And I understand that Baltimore is playing better right now. But if Baltimore is playing Kansas City in an AFC championship game, give me 15. I'll take him.
And Andy Reid and
Yeah,
Chris
all
Jones,
that comes
yes.
with it.
Uh-huh.
So they are allowed such a long leash of getting it sorted out offensively because we know what they're capable of. So I'm fine with them too.
Segura?
Yeah, I'm fine with them too as well.
Next.
Higher or lower?
Ratbirds 3.
Yep.
Their non-QB MVP, Roquan Smith. Hard to argue that.
Yeah.
They got him for a bucket of balls.
They're the number one defense. He's like Ray Lewis. He's become their Ray Lewis.
The Bears had him. What was the net on this?
Nothing.
Like, just put him back on the Bears, keep your second-round pick that you traded for Claypool, and draft any number of receivers.
And by the way, go get Montez Sweat like you
and then
just
get
did.
Sweat like you
Sure.
did, and then now you're running. Off you go.
Off you go.
Come on.
That's why that whole regime is going to be out the door.
They are, and they're starting over again.
Yep. Number 4 are the Miami Dolphins at
That's
6
too
and
high.
3. Their non-QB wide receiver Tyreek Hill MVP. That takes us to number 5, and the Detroit Football Lions 6 and 2. The non-QB MVP Amon-Ra St. Brown. Segura, higher, lower, or just right? Right behind them, by the way, Jacksonville at 6 and 2.
I mean, I think you honestly could, at this point, make the case that the Bengals should be 4.
Yeah.
And then, so that would bump everybody else down. Detroit's 6 and 2. Their only losses were overtime, I want to say, to Seattle, and then they got blasted by the Ravens. The Jags are good, but they don't seem like they've put it all together yet. I think the Bengals are probably – I'd probably have the Bengals, and even though I know the Niners have lost 3 in a row, I don't care. I'd have the Bengals 4 and the Niners 5 right now.
That goes back to the whole thing of, like, if you're everything on the line, ranking the teams that way, then you got it exactly right. I think the thing with Miami is, like, the discrepancy.
Well, right.
Is
They've got to
enormous.
prove they can beat somebody.
They got to beat a good team. Now, they're not going to get a chance. They play Dallas on Christmas Eve. Between then and now, it's Raiders, Jets, Commies, Titans, Jets again. Then they now this is real. They finish Dallas, at Baltimore, Buffalo. That's the last 3 for Miami. But they up until that point,
Yeah,
They
they can
could
get back
be-
on track here.
They
Real
could
quick.
be, at that point, that's 3 games left, so 14. So they could be 11 and 3.
for sure. Yep.
And
But
likely
they-
will be.
It likely will be. So, but can they do that? I'm with you. I would have the Bengals up. I'd have the Niners up. I'd have Lions right there after.
Next.
6, 7.
Higher or lower?
Jacksonville is 6th. 7th, the Bengals. Number 8, the 49ers at 5 and 3. Their non-QB MVP is Christian McCaffrey. Segura, higher, lower, just right for Pedro, not Pedro's 49ers.
They are better than that. I would put them all the way up to 5 behind the Bengals. So I think they are better than that. And in a game situation that mattered, I would still very much take the 49ers
So they
over most teams.
They are at Jacksonville this
Yep.
week, coming off the bye. The Jags have won 5 in a row. It's interesting. Like the Jaguars there were huge red flags. Like they beat the Colts in the opener, then they were beaten by the Chiefs, then kind of drilled by the Texans, 37-17. They really got on them. And then they start going a little bit. They beat the Falcons, they beat the Bills, they beat the Colts. It's like London got them right.
London
but
did.
You're right. They're still not. It's still not all the way there.
No.
With them. Who are we addressing? The Niners.
Yes.
I think the Young thing is going to be a game changer for him as much as it is them. Like just the competency, and then playing opposite Bosa.
It's good. Yes.
I mean, you think about like Miles with Za'Darius, and in this case, Nick being the Miles. But like, think about how often Za'Darius is around the ball. Chase now around the ball all the time.
and they have Hargrave, and they have Armstead.
Yeah, it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Next,
They're good.
Higher or lower?
Cowboys are 9, the Brownies 10, the Bills 11, Seahawks 12. It takes us to number 13, and the Pukers. And again, Brooke Pryor with an easy task this week. Her non-QB MVP is T.J. Watt. Bishop, higher, lower, or just right for the Squealers?
All right, this is where I'm at. Everybody after Buffalo, and I'm putting Seattle in that too because that was such a pathetic display, and I don't think they're getting consistent quarterback play at all. We should have beat them with
Yes.
P.J. Walker at their place.
Yes.
Okay? So I think everybody 12 down is not
Another
much.
tier.
The Chargers are the
Chargers.
one exception because of their talent
Yes.
level, but they are incompetently coached. So they have to – you got to see it, right, to be able to do it.
Yep.
But everybody else here, like what's the difference between the Saints and the Steelers? Not much. Saints and Seahawks, these are not serious people. They're not. I mean, the one that's the most fun is the Texans because of the quarterback play. They're down
Sure.
at 17 on this thing. But the majority of these teams, they're just not serious teams.
No, and aren't in any position to be serious.
No, there's no path.
There's no path for seriousness.
That goes back to that conversation we were having about really neglecting the quarterback position at the deadline. There were competent players available.
Yep.
That or should have been made available by their teams that you should have went and got.
Like the fact that you're not going to get the fact that Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett
Yeah.
are not going to play football barring an injury for the rest of this season.
Yes.
And they are all three infinitely better than many of the quarterbacks that are being trotted out in the league right now.
Put Jacoby Brissett on the Atlanta Falcons right now with what he did last year for us.
Yeah.
They
Put him
might
on the
win that
Jets.
division.
What about the Jets?
For sure. Be a playoff team with him. Yeah. It's
It
I
doesn't
don't
make-
understand it.
Nope.
I don't understand why they punted. I don't know why teams didn't make those guys available. I think sometimes they were playing us. Like you saw the report that we were in on Dobbs. It was between us. Dobbs said his agent told him it was between us and the Vikings for his services. But with Jacoby, it was like everyone was like had too high of a price.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
nobody got dealt. And it was like instead of trying to get a 2 for Jacoby Brissett, take a 4
Or take a 6. What's
or
the
whatever.
difference?
You're already
Yeah.
getting rid of a lot of your talent
Yeah.
already.
It doesn't matter. Like you're not trying to salvage a season if Sam Howell gets hurt anyway.
Yep. Exactly. Next.
Higher or lower?
Final one, we go all the way to the bottom. The Arizona Cardinals, number 32. The Panthers are 31, the Bears 30, the G-Men are 29, the Patriots are 28. Cardinals, should they be higher or are they just right, Bishop?
Well, they're better now.
Yeah, if you're kind of
They got
if
Kyler
they have
Murray.
Kyler Cardinals
Kyler
are
elevates them 10 spots just on
easy.
being dangerous.
Easy.
There's wild incompetence. I think the Bears right now with Bajent, the Giants are the worst team in football, though.
Yes.
Right now, it's the Giants.
Completely.
By the way, the
New
Broncos,
England's not far off, by the way.
The Broncos have no business being 27th on this
No,
list.
they don't.
No, they're better than that.
They definitely are. They just
They're
beat
better
Kansas
than the
City.
Rams.
And like honestly, the Bucks being behind the Raiders is crazy to me.
The fact that the Packers are 24th is just
The Steelers being third is wild.
Think about how bad you think about in our youth. We're all men. We're 40. The stability of the NFC East and the consistency of the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants, and where those two organizations have been for a better part of a decade plus, just off the grid.
Well, at least the Giants had the Eli period.
I'm saying the last decade and a half, though. Eli was there in 11. He won it. So last decade, or did he win it in 13? He won it in
He won
whenever.
it.
It's been a while since they were good. A decade about since they've been good. And the same thing with Washington. It's been almost
Has it really
20
been
years.
that long for Eli?
I'm pretty sure it has been. We'll get that from the smart kids in the back on the research. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK, Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. What did you find on the research with Eli?
So the last time they were good, 2016, they went 11-5, went to the playoffs that year. But the last Super Bowl you had right, 2011. Yeah. But they still at least he had a couple of reasonable seasons in there. The last one, though, that they were a team of consequence was that 11-5. They had some lean years in there. Eli went 3-12 and 17, 5 and 11 and 18.
And they weren't always good between 11 and 16 either, I don't think, were they?
So 11, 9, the Super Bowl, 12, he's a Pro Bowler, 9-7, then 7-9, 6-10, 6-10, 11-5.
Yeah, just uneven.
They went 6-10 in 15 when he goes 63%, 4,432, 35 touchdowns, 14 picks. Averaging 277 yards per game.
Probably his best individual season, right?
Yeah, and they went 6-10.
Yeah, interesting. All right, the next level's coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.